So this is about beliefs. So once you've got clear and you know the things that matter to you, how do you build belief? Belief is the way that culture gets activated. It's about building connection and meaning, and it doesn't live in the staff handbook. So we've all been in places where on your first day you get handed this, page 3, beautiful lofty aspirations about the business that we are signing up to be part of. 6 months later, anyone in the corridor, what is it? They've got no idea at all. So it's about leaders that think they've defined the culture, but they haven't taken the time to really help people build belief in it. No one is actually using it in the business. It's not alive. So how can we as leaders really understand the power of building belief? So of the leaders that we spoke to as part of our research over the last year, they shared 7 learnings. The really successful leaders that are using culture really well shared 7 learnings, but we're going to take 3 of the keyest of the keys and share those with you. And the first one is no surprise. Anybody in this room who understands what it means to be a leader, you know this. It starts with you. It's about the alignment between your personal values and the values of your organization. And we've all been in places where this is a very incongruent experience, where what's being said and what's being experienced and the behaviors that you're seeing around you don't line up, they don't match. And then you don't feel safe, you don't feel part of anything, it feels quite threatening. So the learning number 1 that really people wanted to share was that culture starts with authentic leaders. You have to embody and role model the behaviors that you want to see in the business that you're trying to build. This is the business that I ran for 5 years, it's very blurry, but the values that we created here, they were alive because they came from a place which felt very authentic to me and very true, and the people around me could sense that. That was the power of it. It was about authenticity. So the question as leaders that we need to be asking ourselves every day is, how are we showing up to the values? How are we living them? How are we modeling them? And how are people experiencing us as leaders? So the next point, which is really want to talk about, is that culture is about co-creation. So your point about it being something that comes from the top down. As a leader, it's about being really clear what's authentic to you and what matters to you. And then it's about having the courage to invite people in to help you build depth and richness and codify it. And to do that in a co-creative space. So people feel invited in to be part of it. Then they will feel they have ownership of it. Then there will be accountability to it. We've been working with an organization called More Partnership now for a year. There are 40-strong fundraising strategists, group of fundraising strategists. They all work remotely, and they all work in different places around the world. They're a values-led business, but they have never codified that. They've never made it explicit. What actually do they mean? What behaviors do they want to see? What expectations do they have from each other? And how do they know the stuff that just isn't acceptable? So we've been really helping them codify that and invest the time in getting really clear in that and building belief, shared understanding, shared language. So the question is, have you as a leader invested the time to co-create the culture, build that shared understanding and shared belief? The next level down is that individual people need to find their own way of connecting to it. So you can codify it, you can make it explicit, and then there's a space that as a leader you need to create for people to understand what does it mean to them. And this is about personal stories. How is this culture relevant to me? Without it, it's really hard for us to know how to show up to it as individuals. What does it really mean for me? How do I build belief in it, and how do I connect to it? This is us last week up at the Catskills. This is our retreat time, and this is us building belief. We have a value within Make Change Fun. Make Change Fun is a shared value, but it means something for me that may be different to what it means to Jeff, that may be different to what it means to Nat. This is our new client, the One and Only Resorts around the world, which they've invested in an 18-month journey for us to help them go out to all of their different resorts and help all of their people understand what it means to sign up and live those values. So it's about helping everybody build meaning into the values as individuals. what does it mean here to live this culture? And what does it mean to me personally? How do I show up to it? So just to recap, it's about authenticity. Culture starts with authentic leaders. We know that. Let's live it. It's about alignment. Leaders bring people together to really build a shared understanding of the culture, codify it. And then it's about space for people to build personal connections to the stories and know what it means for them to show up to it.